Mmm. I like that smell. It smells pretty. I got it.
Hand engraver.
Oh, that's cool.
Done with a graver. Lines cut, and then theoretically, if the letters were actually reversed, you could print from that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is cool.
You heat the plate, rub the ink in, wipe the surface, stick it on a wet piece of paper in a blanket, press it, take the blanket off, take the piece of paper, hang out one print.
Wow.
Every 5 minutes, you know. Books are expensive.
So much time.
Lilies and things like that.
He's losing his lovely little cat.
I do apologise for the delay, but you'll hear a rowdy mob in the distance, and that'll be our Saxons. More about them in a moment. But all that shouting, they'll be tired out by the time they get here, if we're lucky.
Go on, mate.
Right, what we're aiming to do, ladies and gentlemen, is that we are going to literally walk you through history. We're going to start with the ladies first and show you how fashion has changed. Then we're going to show you about the men's clothing and maybe even a bit of armour as well. And then we're literally going to put out the different historical routes and let the fight all out. We have to wait for them because they're an integral part of being English.
Wolfgar! Wolfgar! Open it down.
You're in there, Saxons. Please, can I move on?
No, wait. Let's see.
We're standing up there waiting.
Oh, I went down. That way.
He wasn't referring to his head, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, there are many places where you will see this sort of event. And what we tried to do on this thing, I had this idea many, many years ago. And what I wanted to do was to try and show people how history has changed. We often get the idea of what it's like to live in a castle, and we have the idea of flashy knights and all the rest of it, which we'll come on to in a moment. But we've got to talk about people that came before that. Where did all this come from? So I'm going to ask the ladies first, please. Can you all step forward from your historical time period? Audience, can I have a round of applause, please, for the ladies? Now, obviously, we could go much, much, much further back in time, and we can go through our Stone Ages, wearing leathers and furs. We can go through the Bronze Ages into the Iron Ages, wearing more linens and wools and checked clothing, striped clothing, decorative clothing. We're going to come up a little bit further. We're going to start you in with the Romans. So a round of applause, please, for the Roman ladies. Ladies, take a step forward. If we were in Rome, if we were in Britain, during the Roman period, then we would expect to see ladies like this. We're looking at long, loose clothing. Now, ladies, here we've got silk. Why have we got silk? Because the Romans had the trade links to go to India, and even were bringing in things from Asia as well. This is all about showing off. And all those beautiful Hollywood images that we had when we were growing up of all the Romans being dressed in white. Everything seemed to be white. And then they put a little bit of decoration on it. And then suddenly, because of all the archaeology and historians that have been looking at things, we've suddenly realised that the Romans was all about colour, showing off. The more colour you got, the more wealthy you are. So ladies, would you like to parade in front of the audience, please? This is all about wafting, and look at these ladies wafting in their silks. And they waft ever so lovely, because it's like ethereal. It's like you're looking at the goddesses themselves. Yeah, come on girls, work it. This is the ladies of the villas, the ladies of the towns. Jewellery, because again, this is high status. And these two ladies then would have wealthy husbands. They would be expecting to provide them with all this lovely jewellery. Roman ladies weren't expected to be business women or go out there and earn a living for themselves. They're supposed to be taken care of. I'm not saying that Roman women didn't, I hasten to add. So there's the Romans. Round of applause for the Romans. We then leave the Romans as the Saxons move in. So step forward, Saxons, please. So the Saxons, it's long, simple clothing. Sometimes very, very similar to the Romans. Lady in blue, would you like to waft up first? It's a very, very similar outfit to what the Romans were wearing. The Saxons were Northern European. We're talking areas from Germany, Denmark, what now today you call the Netherlands. So you wouldn't expect this very, very light clothing. But yes, they did have a summer as well. It wasn't all about furs. So these practical clothing pinned at the shoulders. sometimes refer to these as peplos dresses, because the Greeks had them first, the Romans had them, and then people often adopted them because they're very simple to
I'm
make.
gonna go see Grandma.
Then we have a bit more linens and wools. Ladies like to parade up there if you've got some linen or wool on. And fur. Fur was also a bit of a status symbol depending on the animal, but also it's practical. It's going to keep you warm. These are Northern Europeans. These are having to contend with the nasty winters. And one of the reasons why the Saxons came to this country wasn't just to raid the Romans. They wanted to come here because they wanted the farmland. They wanted to move. Their own lands were being taken by other tribes, and then they themselves had to get pushed away and come somewhere else. So this is the Saxon migration period that we're talking about. This is the foundation of what you today called England. So a round of applause, please, for the Saxon ladies. As the Saxons were here, a new group of people moved in. Now we've got the Scandinavians. So a round of applause, please, for Mistress Ketha, who's representing Scandinavia. You would call her people the Vikings. She would be rather upset by that because the word Viking is an insult. It's a Saxon word saying that you're a pirate. You're here to thieve our Christian monasteries. However, you'll notice then we've got an apron hanging over the front, the hanger rock. We've got long dress underneath. The Norse prided their women on the paler the skin, the more wealthy they were regarded. And we're often referred to Viking or Norse gold being their lovely long golden hair. Pale skin was a real asset, and that's going to go all the way through history. Mistress Ketha, go and work the catwalk. Look at the bling on the front. Oh, the lovely little twist there. It's very nice. Bling, anyone who's got jewellery on, they're saying status. And we know this because of the grave finds of this particular period. We know that these were people who like to show off. They were very conscious about their appearances. They're buried with combs. They've got ear scoops to clean out their ears. They've got things to cut their nails. We're not talking about horrible, people covered in mud all the time. And even our Saxons would say this as well. So we often get an image of history which is all dirty and smelly. I'm not saying there wasn't a distinct smell, but people did take a pride in their hygiene and appearance as well. Round of applause then for our Norsewomen, our Scandinavians. We're stepping into the Norman period. Mistress Morag for the Normans. Round of applause for the Normans. Lots of layers of clothing. So we have an underkirtle made out of linen. Then we've got more linen over the top of that. Stick wool over the top of that. We know she's married because she's got a headscarf on. And a whole range of different head garments were being worn at this particular period. She might put a cloak over the top of that. Go on, girl, work it. Practical working clothing. Not too much jewellery, you notice here. Right, this is practical working clothing. And again, tying your hair back away from the fire that you're hanging over or away from the cooking pot, it makes practical sense. Oh, yeah, she's good. Very good. Round of applause for the Normans. Now, ladies and gentlemen, a real treat. We have Lady Margaret from the 14th century, a member of the royal family at the time. A round of applause then for royalty. Come on, big it up, audience. Come on. Lady Margaret then, look, we've still got the long dress. We've still got her hair covered. Look at the fancy hat. Look at the decoration on the belt, on the clothing. This really was the age of showing off, the age of what we call the chivalry. But this is not only for the men, but also particularly for the women. If you're going to have some glamour, if you're going to have some bling, this is our big period for it. So, Mistress, would you like to please show yourselves to the peasantry? Peasants, cheer for Lady Margaret.